Hey everybody, welcome back. This is MegaTrain, and today we're continuing to work on our mob farm. Right now we have half a mob farm. If I fly underneath this here, you can see that we've got a hole in the middle and nowhere to put all these mobs once they spawn and fall. So we're going to go ahead and continue working on this today. One thing I did do between the last episode and this is build an emerald infused battery. You can see that the capacity of this one is a lot higher than the small one. Small one had the same capacity as the carbon jetpack itself, which is only 400,000 RF. This one has a capacity of 16 million. So that is a little crazy. This one is a little tedious to build, not too expensive, but basically you take a basic battery, which is just a block of redstone and a couple of carbon ingots. Surround it with emerald carbon rods. So these take emerald bits, which come from emeralds, and a diamond rod, which comes from a gold rod, which comes from an iron rod, and a lapis rod, and a redstone rod, and a carbon nanotube, which is just more carbon. So, like I said, not too expensive, just a little bit tedious. But this is going to really give me a bit more confidence in flying around without thinking that I'm going to kill myself by falling into the void. So, we're going to create basically a drop shaft here, and I want the front of it to be glass. I'll continue to use my dark clear glass here. And the rest of it will just be the normal chiseled cobblestone. Oops. Let's get up here. There we go. And I'm not going to go quite all the way down to my platform down below because I don't want these guys to die by fall damage. We're going to use a different technique to kill them. So let me actually, it's hard to count and talk at the same time. So let me go ahead and finish this drop shaft and figure out exactly what height I need, and I'll show you what I've come up with. Okay, so I did pull the drop shaft all the way down, but my kill floor is going to be about 5 blocks above my platform here. So this gives me a drop height of about 20, which shouldn't kill any mobs because I'm going to be using a grinder to kill them instead. And I've made it all out of the dark clear glass just so we can see what's happening inside it. And here's what we're going to do at the bottom. First of all, we're going to have 2 fans on the side to blow the mobs into the middle. And then in the middle, we're going to have a couple of mob mashers. These are pretty cool. So they just work on redstone. They don't require any power. And you can actually upgrade them with sharpness upgrades and looting upgrades and all sorts of stuff. So there's a couple of these things that I have to actually craft up. I need to craft up the swords, of course, but also these iron spikes have a bunch more swords in them. So I brought a bunch of material down here. All right, so here's the arrangement we want. These can be powered via redstone from underneath. And you do have to be careful. They will grind you up just as badly as they will grind up any of these mobs. But if you right-click these, you'll see this is where you put in all these upgrades. And the 2 that we really care about are the sharpness upgrade, so I can kill my mobs faster, and the looting upgrade, which is surprisingly cheap, considering I can actually stack it 10 high. So we're going to make 20 of these looting upgrades, and we'll make 20 of the sharpness upgrades as well. I don't know if it's a little bit more difficult to do, but we'll try to get a couple of beheading upgrades as well. The difficulty here is that crafting an iron helmet or a gold helmet is not as easy as it used to be. You basically have to have a gold helmet to craft an iron one. And for a gold helmet, you have to have a chain helmet. And for that, you have to have a stone helmet. And for that, you have to have a leather helmet. So you basically build this stack going all the way back. So it's a lot more tedious to get up to the level to even get a couple of beheading upgrades. Alright, there we go. We've got our two mob fans with the two width upgrades that we need for each side. And 20 sharpness upgrades and 20 looting upgrades. Let's get them in place. We'll come back, I think, and work on the beheading ones. So looting and sharpness. And looting and sharpness. There we go. And two more. And he's still walking around in the front. Well, I'm going to hope that once we actually get some significant mobs falling down here, that's going to take care of itself. All right, let me rethink this. This is a problem. All right, it's not as bad as I thought. My plan is not completely without merit. Here's the deal. If I have both fans on, they don't do much. But if I turn one of them off, they all get pushed over to the other side. So the fans are working. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to push these guys back and forth for a few minutes until I kill all of them. I've already turned off the mob farm upstairs. And I'm going to change it so it pushes them into a corner instead of trying to push them into the middle. All right, here's my new idea. Let's see if this works. We'll put these in the corner and blow these the other directions. Okay. I'm going to say the answer is sorta. Alright, I apparently didn't have one of my two fans on, so problem solved. It's definitely working the way that I wanted it to. I do have a problem with the corner here, so I think I'm going to, instead of doing a kitty corner, I'll actually move one of these directly into the corner. But let me go ahead and take the go turn the farm off so I can take care of that. He had a hat on. That was weird. I did put an absorption hopper down here, but it is having a hard time keeping up. And it has already filled up a chest. So this is definitely going to be a productive farm. All right, third time's the charm. I went ahead and just put both in the very, very corner. And I wouldn't put some lights in there too, just so I could see what was happening here. And let's see if it actually does what I hope. That is an encouraging sound. There we go. That's certainly closer to what I wanted to see. Nice. All right, we are definitely going to need a better way to handle our drops. So we're getting lots of, I guess what you'd call normal mob drops, lots of loot bags. Some of this stuff we're going to void out. We probably don't need to collect osmium boots or broken golden boots. But other stuff we'll want to hold on to. Steel armor is better than what we have now. All right, I've turned it off for the moment just to keep it from getting too far out of control, as if it wasn't already way out of control. But the first thing we're going to make is some trash cans. Trash cans are just stone over cobblestone. And I don't need that many. Let me start with 4 trash cans. And the trash cans use... let me plop a couple down here. Trash cans use a different kind of filter than our Ender IO filter. Now we can, I mean, ultimately we're going to run all the items past these and conditionally put them in here. So of course we can put the filters inside the Ender IO conduit itself. But these have a built-in filter that is actually a little different, and I'm going to use it. This particular filter is made of redstone and sticks. And we'll get one for each. The reason why it's preferable to use these is that these don't have... these have some built-in abilities that the others do not. So, for example, match metadata, ignore metadata, match NBT. All these options are only available using an Ender IO, what's called an advanced item filter. And we don't have access to that yet because we can't make this Z-Logic controller. Now, we should be able to do that before too long because now we have mob heads. And we can get that. So we're going to go ahead and set these up with some of the different kinds of armor and stuff that we're not going to be keeping out of this. I'll show you which ones specifically. And then I think we'll probably route everything into an ender chest and send it up top. Alright, so this one is all ready to go with all of my vanilla armor types. So we'll put those in there and we will enable that. I've got one of almost everything. The only thing I'm short is some glowstone boots. And to make those, I have to start with lapis boots and then bronze boots. And to make bronze boots, you really got to figure out which bronze you need. There are 3 different bronze ingots from 3 different mod packs. They can normally be used the same way. You can see it sort of rotating through all 3 of them. The trick, though, is you sometimes need to browse through and figure out which one is easiest to make because the recipes show up differently. So this first one is from Mechanism. I can make that with the Metallurgic Infuser. The second one is from Plastique, whatever that is. And that doesn't look like it has a recipe at all except for nuggets. The third one, though, is from Thermal Foundation, and that one has an alloy smelter recipe. So the alloy smelter recipe is simply copper and tin. So I'm going to smelt up 4 of those and make this. So 1, 2, 3. There we go. The glowstone ingots, by the way, I got inside a loot chest. So there are some ways to make those ingots otherwise, but that's where I got them. So that should give me enough to create my additional filter here and filter out all of these modded armor types. A couple more things we're going to need to be aware of here. It looks like I am not getting these out of here fast enough, so I'm going to apply some speed upgrades to my Ender IO conduits. Speed upgrades are not particularly cheap. They require a piston and some electrical steel that I don't have on me at the moment, but I'll craft up some of that and put those in there. Second thing that I'll need to do here is take care of this liquid XP on the side. So that we'll find some ways to utilize that later on. But for now, we're going to store it in what's called an experience obelisk. An experience obelisk requires an experience rod, which is just solarium and energetic alloy, which I've already made, and some more solarium and a chassis or a framework. So we'll make that, and we'll put it together. And basically, let me set it right there and figure out what direction this is. That is north. So basically, I just tell this to pump fluid to the north, and it'll take all this XP into there. And basically, this allows me to either store or retrieve both XP that the mob farm gives me or XP that I develop myself. So I can store all of my player XP, all 78 levels, or I can pull out 10 levels at a time. So I've crafted some speed upgrades here that I'm going to plop in there. Let's see if 5 is enough to keep up with our load once we get that thing going. These are still full up, but I've redirected the rest of this into my ender chest. So we need to go back up top and design a place for all this stuff to go. We still do have some filters that we'll take off later on. For example, this one has rotten flesh and gunpowder and bones. We're going to ultimately need those, but for testing, I had filtered these out. But this should be pretty good for our mob farm. Let's go ahead and make a place for all this stuff to go. So I've been adding a bunch of drawers here. I've got a lot of the main ones that can be compacted, set to compact. So bones can compact into, what's it called? A compressed bone block. Same thing with zombie flesh can be compacted as well. All of my ore blocks I actually moved over to the other side. At some point we'll be setting up some automated sifting. And that seems like a more practical place here. It's still touching, so it's still part of the same entire array. But now let me show you what how this is going to actually come in here. I've made sort of an intermediate platform right under my main platform here, and under my drawer controller, I've got my my ender chest. So all I'm going to do at this point is insert all this stuff here, and basically anything that has a spot is going to take a spot. Anything that doesn't have a spot right now is going to stay in here. So maybe there's just too much pushing. So I'm going to let this filter through, and basically as it does, I'm going to figure out what still needs slots and add some more drawers. So the next thing we need is our bag openers. We're going to make a couple of them, and they're actually pretty cheap. We need a silver chest and some aluminum. Silver chest is built off of a copper chest, so we'll make a couple of those. And a couple of bag openers. So we're going to basically, as I said, sort of rely on the priority from the conduits for this to make this work right. So let's make sure we do this in the right order here. I'm actually going to break that, and so we'll extract always. We want the priority for this to be a 15. So basically, if it can go in here, it'll go in here. And there we go. They'll start flying in there already. Now we need to pull these things out. So we'll pull... we'll extract the items here, and now we need to go up into our pipe there. So we'll extract always and extract always here. Now clearly not everything that is in this box can go into the drawers yet, because we don't have spots for stuff like rails. But a lot we do already, and that's just going to be my ongoing task, is to make sure that everything that doesn't already have that, that we get that entered in. So I'll go ahead and add some drawer items for all these as well, and hopefully we'll get this process moving. One of the things I'm going to do over here, you see I put all my iron stuff right next to the smeltery. Well, I'm just going to pipe it straight in. I've got 4 pieces of armor. I've got tools, buckets, and iron horse armor. So I'm just going to pull that straight out. Extract it there. And insert it. And we're going to get a really nice lots of iron. So we'll just automatically smelt that there. Pull it out and keep building it up. So I found enough steel armor pieces to replace all my iron. And we'll keep watching for those and keep combining and replacing till we've got full durability. We've got a lot more work to do. This is kind of more an art than a science. I'm trying to get your drawers organized the way that you want, but we're going to keep working at it. I'll work at it quite a bit between episodes and show you how to handle a few other specialty items like enchanted books. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time.